Who said that this was going to happen? Look, to be honest with you guys, I told you several weeks ago that this was a surprise, that Kamari Blair ended up being a South Carolina commit at the time whenever he did announce his intentions to be a Gamecock. And I told you as well that I had a good feeling, a pretty damn good feeling that Blair was not going to be a Gamecock for very long. He's a Tennessee guy. Look, everybody looked at the commitment by J.B. Shabazz, and you're like, okay, well, we have an opportunity to get Blair now. Guys, that's just not the case. You knew that the money was going to come calling. You knew that that hometown vibe was going to continue on. Look, that's just what it is, guys. That's literally what it is. But regardless of that, guys, we are live. This is South Carolina Live here at the Voice of College Football. I am your host, as always, Lucas Hill. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on what should be a very, very, very intense discussion because, you know, we don't usually go live when it comes to flips, but I think today is a very, very particular day that we talk about this, knowing that this was a commit that I think a lot of people were surprised ended up being a Gamecock. And look, to be honest with you, I was too. I was pretty certain that coming from the state of Tennessee at Kirkwood High School, guys, there was no question in my mind that he wasn't sold on Carolina. And it's not because of the culture, it's because of the distance. You got to understand that that's a big aspect when it comes to recruiting. Whether you like it or not, guys, that's life. That is reality right now for South Carolina. But I will say this, don't panic. It's not a big deal. It's not going to affect your recruiting class. But give us your thoughts. Give us your comments. 803-587-8365 is the number to call. 803-587-8365 is the number to call if you want to get your thoughts in or if you want to call into the show. Make sure you join the StreamYard that just got posted in the chat. Give us your thoughts. Give us your overall feelings about how you are feeling as Kamari Blair has flipped his decision from the University of South Carolina, and now he will be a Tennessee Volunteer now. Is it a big deal? Sure, it's another lost commit. Now you're down to what? 15 total commits in the class of 26? Yes. But I think ultimately you still got more important things, guys. Guys, listen. Friday, guarantee you, and I need you to heed this warning. Be ready. Be ready. Because we're hearing great things from the Gray camp. That might be the big reason why Kamari ended up decommitting. Guys, number 8 player in the state of Tennessee, number 27 overall offensive tackle in the nation. It's a significant loss. Make no mistake about that. That's a big loss. But I think ultimately, though, you should be pretty impressed with what you've been able to do with this recruiting class. And I would not panic if I were you. I would not be worried one bit. Guys, this recruiting class is really damn good. Even with you losing Kamari Blair. Sure, it's going to knock you down in the 247 rankings a bit, but overall, your class is stacked. Your class is freaking loaded with talent. I mean, loaded with dudes across the freaking board. May I remind you who you just got? One of the best quarterbacks in the 26 class? Just saying. And I do apologize ahead of time for the lighting and for the computer for how it is acting. We're actually at school right now. So we are going live from school. Guys, we have over 119 of you guys in here. Make sure you drop a like, hit the retweet button, hit the bell notification, hit that subscribe button, turn on the like button. Guys, give us your thoughts in the comments section below. If you want to join in the show, here's the StreamYard link down in the comments section. And if you want to call in, 803-587-8365, 803-587-8365. So where does this knock South Carolina now in the recruiting rankings? Well, is it something that you need to be concerned about if you're South Carolina? I've already said this. No, you do not. Guys, you still got the number one interior guy in the nation. The number one guy. Do not worry. I promise you, it's not going to be a big deal. 14 commits, and yet you're top 20 overall in recruiting rankings. Guys, that is impressive. Knowing what you've been able to do, how Beamer has attacked the high school recruiting rankings with a vengeance, like he's done so before whenever he was here with the head ball coach. You know, when you get those diamonds in the rough, the guys that you're wanting to be a part of this program, guys like Clowney, guys like your Stephon Gilmores, like your Melvin Ingrams, guys that were blue chip recruits coming out of high school. Guess who recruited them? That was Shane Beamer. Beamer's giving you the tools to be able to be successful at the next level and help develop a high-level program. You're going to get that at the end of the day this year, guys. You're going to get that. Look, we're hearing a lot of things that you better get ready, man. Darius Gray, we are very, very close because I'm telling you right now, Steve Wiltfong just dropped a bomb and said, hey, Darius Gray might become a South Carolina Gamecock. It's hard for me not to deny that. It's hard for me not to believe him. Has Wiltfong been wrong before? Abso-freaking-lutely. Hell yeah, he has. But I think overall, man, this is a very, very, very good class. This is a damn good class that we have right now. And so I think when you look at the rest of where South Carolina is at, look, you've already got offensive line-wise, Zion Giles. He's already shut down his commitment. He's a Gamecock for life. He'll be a Gamecock next semester. So how does this impact Tennessee? Well, I think initially whenever we saw that he was going to be a Gamecock, we came out and we said that there was no doubt that he was going to be a flip. We were skeptical whenever he initially committed, and we continued to be skeptical from that point forward. Now, it's not just Steve Wiltfong that has said that. You have more guys that are coming out there. Steve Wiltfong only has a 60% confidence level that he's going to be a Gamecock. But look, we're hearing from other things that, look, it may not just be Darius Gray. Hey, that's going to be involved in this. What if there's other guys that are involved that we haven't heard from that could end up flipping and or decommitting from South Carolina? Did this come as a shock to some South Carolinians, knowing that this was going to be the week that Darius Gray would end up committing on Friday? And let me give you a sneak preview. He may end up in the Garnet and Black. Do you think you can't lie to me? Like you can look at Steve Wiltfong and you can look at all those guys, believe me. We're getting great insight from around the Gray camp that says he's locked in with South Carolina. He's expected to talk to Coach Beamer at some point either tomorrow or Friday morning before he ends up committing. Guys, this is going to be a huge deal for South Carolina. So we can say all we want about what's the impact of this, and we can just hang our heads and say, well, shoot, we missed out on a blue chip interior guy. Doesn't matter, man. Because remember, it's not – I think you've seen enough from the interior, from the offensive tackle position for South Carolina that, in my opinion, it was a need. But I think also you just have so many dudes in this class with Anthony Baxter that could end up moving outside. You have Noah Clark that could be a two-way guy. Zion Giles that could be a two-way guy. And so I think that at the end of the day, it came down to player development. From what we're hearing, Kamari Blair was not happy being a Gamecock. His family wasn't happy. I think it was because of the distance. And you looked at whenever he initially committed to South Carolina, guys, it didn't look very good. His family just looked bland whenever he was there. They didn't really look that excited because I think they really genuinely wanted him to go to Tennessee because it's a much closer drive. It's easier for them to go to the games. And the relationship that they've built together with Tennessee is much better than what you've seen in previous years, if that makes any sort of sense. But I think overall, this is a big commit for Tennessee. I think overall, though, you shouldn't worry. You should not be worried about what happens with this guy. Kamari is going to end up being a Tennessee Vol. I think he's going to sign on the dotted line with Tennessee. But now that you look at that, who are some South Carolina Gamecocks that we could expect to see flipping in the next couple of weeks? That's my question. We know the Harris twins are locked in. I think Duckworth's locked in for sure. Carnes has already shut down his recruiting. Zion Giles, I think he shut it down. Sekel Patterson is locked in. Jamel House is locked in. Noah Clark, I think, should be locked in, but be careful. Amari Thomas for sure is locked in. I know that. But I think apart from that, who other guys do you want to see flip? I think overall, this is a pretty solid class. I will be concerned a little bit about Kosi Barnes. We'll see what happens with him. Keenan Britt, I think, is locked in, but Kosi is the only one I do have kind of circled as a potential flip from South Carolina, just because he's still a North Carolina guy. We'll see if he wants to stay in the Carolinas, whether he wants to go be in Miami or be in that bluegrass state where Kentucky is. But I think overall he's developed a decent relationship with the South Carolina DB room and it's all the coaches that are involved. But I think his heart still wants to go to Miami, but we'll see for sure once we get to that date come December. But I think you expected this, to be honest with you guys. You should have known. You should have known. And I hate to say you about what happens. So we'll see what happens from there and on. Tavion Cheney says, what about KJ? I think Mississippi State is in it. I think he's locked in for now, but don't quote me on it. I know Kewan he's a Birmingham kid. I know that I'm glad you mentioned it's either going to be Ole Miss or Mississippi State at the end of the day. I was kind of shocked that he ended up being a Gamecock, in my opinion. But look, you just don't know at this point in time, especially with how the money comes through at this point in time. I think overall this is a solid recruiting class for South Carolina. KJ, though, I'm still kind of on the fence about. I'm glad that you mentioned him, Tavion, because I honestly didn't think much. I was still focused on Kosi that could end up decommitting. Keenan Britt, been a year since he committed. He's a Oxford kid. I'm on the fence about him, but I think he's locked in with SC. But I think overall, KJ and Kosi are your two guys to look out for, your two Alabama guys that could end up, or an Alabama guy and a North Carolina kid that could end up decommitting at some point throughout the season. So wouldn't surprise me one bit if KJ ends up decommitting, ends up in Mississippi State's hands. I think it'd give him more of an opportunity to start as well, give him an opportunity to learn from that DB room. But I think it depends on what personnel looks like, because I have a good feeling Jeff Lebby's about to have an overhaul after this season. I don't see him keeping around Coleman Hutzler after 2025. I think last year was a disaster. I thought they should have fired him after 1 year because Coleman Hutzler's not a good defensive play caller. He's just not. And it's affecting your recruiting class. Sure, Mississippi State did well throughout the portal, but I think overall, it's just hard for me to get back on the bandwagon of where Mississippi State once was just because of what you haven't been able to do, which is recruit at a high level. That's the truth, guys. And I think realistically, that's your one guy that you should be concerned about. I think overall, even if this ends up being a 15-man recruiting class, you've got 9 guys that are 4-star and above. Which, by the way, if you guys didn't catch the first part of the show, real fast, let me get to this comment and then I'll get to what I was about to say. Think we're still in the running for Julian Walker? I doubt it. I doubt it, to be honest with you. Anything can happen, but I think the Michigan situation, they never got the hammer dropped on them. And I think that plays a big role and helps with developing that relationship. I do think Wink Martindale is going to be a Michigan guy for at least the next 2 years. He's going to continue to decline NFL offers. He's going to stay around that Michigan area. I don't see a scenario where you end up flipping Julian Walker. It's a possibility. I'm not saying that it's out of the question. I just say that right now, with the current situation of where Michigan is at, with all the hammer stuff that apparently got dropped, which never did, I think it pisses off a lot of guys, and I think that gets you fueled at the end of the day. Guys, you got to understand, that $20 million, you wipe your butt with that if you're a Michigan fan, because you got donors coming in from left and right that are worth a hell of a lot more than that. A hell of a lot more than that. But with the money that's coming in, I don't expect any sort of change to happen with that recruiting class. It was tough whenever you did lose Julian Walker. I think I wouldn't really be concerned about Julian Walker as I would be about Carter Meadows. That's the guy I'm really looking forward to. I think he's still locked in with Michigan, but again, guys, you never know. Carter Meadows is still, he may inch towards. It's like a third wheel. It's like a side piece. You really love the main chick, and you really love what she offers to the table. But man, you just can't get enough of what that side chick is giving you. She's starting to give you a little bit more, starting to give you some more tasty stuff. Meanwhile, the main chick, she may start going a little bit downhill, but I know that's a kind of a grotesque analogy to use, but it reigns supreme whenever it comes to high school and transfer portal stuff, guys. How do I know? It's happened before. Bryce Underwood last year was locked in with LSU for a solid several months. Made the commitment, even though we already knew that Bryce was going to be a Tiger. And then here comes the money. And Bryce goes to be the signal caller of a run-first offense. So, overall, don't be worried about it. Really, I think the one guy that I think you're definitely in the running for, actually 2 guys I think you're definitely in the running for, is Smoke Matthews, who's a Texas kid. We'll see how locked in he is. I'm not convinced that he's ready to be a Texas Longhorn, guys. I just don't. And then the second one is going to be PJ Dean, who's now at Georgia. Remember, that was one of our first live shows. Guys, you guys killed it during the live stream, too. Guys, we had over 7,000 of you guys tuned in for that one. Where's everybody at? Wake up. If you're in the chat, give us a thumbs up. How's the quality, by the way, in here? For those of you that are watching us, I know it's kind of shit compared to what we have in our normal office setting, but I mean, that's what happens when you broadcast from school, from the beautiful campus of Southeastern Louisiana University in Hammond, Louisiana. But regardless, guys, this is PJ Dean is the most likelihood out of him and Smoke to end up flipping back to South Carolina, just because I love what T-Rob did with recruiting him, with the relationship that he developed. It was a really damn good relationship that he built. And I think that it still reigns supreme today. I do have I wouldn't say an insider, but I do have something that's in my gut that says PJ's going to be a Gamecock at some point. He's bound to be. Whether we want to admit it or not, I mean, come on. I think you and I both know what's going to happen. So we'll see from here on out. I think it's going to be a dominant recruiting class again for the Gamecocks. Look, you've been recruiting at a high level. I do expect for you to get at least 3 to 4 flips from here until we get to National Signing Day. And don't be surprised if post-signing day, you get another flip or two when we get to the regular signing day in February. So that's my thoughts on this, guys. Let me know what you guys are in the comment section below. 803-587-8365. 803-587-8365 is the number to call if you want to call into the show. Also, we got the StreamYard open still. We'll be on for the next at least 5 or so minutes if you guys want to come on in here. Speak your piece. Let us know how you're feeling about the whole Kamari Blair situation and what you guys have to say about that. And if you don't want to, go ahead, leave a message. Text or call into the show, guys. 803-587-8365. 803-587-8365. Continuing on. By the way, I don't know if you guys mentioned this too. South Carolina is officially moving to Nike as their new uniform provider for 2026. I don't have a problem with it, knowing the past history of what recruits have been like, because from what I have heard, there's been a lot of recruits that have visited Under Armour schools that have refused to go to that school because it's an Under Armour program. Really? It's stupid, but at the same time, it's kind of just a style thing too. So I'm not going to hate on that. But what I am going to say is I'm not really shocked. I think this is a great, bold move by Jeremiah Doty and company. And again, we've talked about this many, many times before, guys. Jeremiah Doty is running a freaking business. Nothing against what you had before. It is nothing against what this administration was like before. Now that you have a guy that is a businessman, it's a young, fresh new face, Jeremiah's bringing in a business-first approach whenever it comes to all South Carolina athletics. And I think it's a damn good analysis, too. It's a damn good decision that he's doing. I think this is a big thing for South Carolina. You'll get a new jersey. I think you'll get a new overhaul, something kind of like what you had in the mid-2000s, like when you had all black and then you had just the logo on the side. I think that would be cool. Bring some of that throwback stuff in there. I don't hate the new style that you have, but I think some of that old retro stuff that you used to have, get some of the all black unis out there. Those are kind of fire, dude. Like, I really like what South Carolina has when they bring out the all black or the all maroon. Just give you different uniform combinations, which I wish they would bring back. Actually, believe it or not, my first ever game that I ever went to as a college football fan was LSU South Carolina 2012. That was when South Carolina came out in those camo unis. I was hooked from then on. Those are really freaking nice, too. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'll be on for the next, let's go 5 minutes. We'll go for about 30 minutes on today's show. We've got just over 350 of you guys in here. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're watching us on X, hit that like, hit that repost button. Let your friends know. Let 5 South Carolina fans that are right next to you and tell us that we're live breaking down the Kamari Blair, who has decided to flip to the Tennessee Volunteers. And I love these freaking comments that they have on the Kamari Blair situation. This is one thing that I do want to kind of point out, is that this is so ridiculous. Scar is failing Beamer. Okay. The greatest decision. Great decision. Y'all saying it's because of Gray, but they don't even play the same position. Yes, they do. They're both offensive linemen. Now, if you're talking about a specific position, Gray can play both. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Everybody's going to say, oh, they don't play the same position. No, one plays guard, one plays tackle. Guys, you do realize that they can both basically play both sides. We went over Darius Gray's film before. He played tackle too. Oh my God, dude. And was damn good at it too. It's a joke, man. And I mean, I come on here every freaking night and I tell you guys about this stuff, and yet we still get hate in the comments for this. Kamari Blair is an idiot. Oh my God. Easier to start for the Vols. He knows what is happening tomorrow with Gray. Yeah, well, no shit. Everybody knows what's going to happen tomorrow with Gray. Yes. Yes, it does. Look, guys, I've been telling you this entire freaking time. Darius Gray is going to become a South Carolina Gamecock. This is freaking confirmed. We have a lot of guys that are basically here and can confirm this from other sources. The Gray camp is very no. I know we're far out, but how are you feeling about early 27 recruits targets in, and does Tamarion stick or can we flip? You got an opportunity to flip him. First of all, I'll get to your 27-1 in just a minute, but with Watkins, oh yeah, no question about it. You can flip him. He's not a no. Is he a Vol or is he? Oh no, he's an Aggie. Yes, I do think you're going to be able to flip him. He's a Rock Hill guy. I don't think his parents didn't look the happiest at all whenever he ended up at announcing that he would be a Texas A&M guy. I do think that your South Carolina guys are going to stay in South Carolina. No question about it, guys. I don't have any doubt or any sort of scare. There's no real sort of scarcity, in my opinion, whenever it comes to whether or not that Tamarion Watkins will end up being a Gamecock. I do think he'll flip. I can see this happening very much so. So don't be shocked. Do not be shocked if they end up being able to flip him at the end of the day. As far as 2027 goes for South Carolina, dude, the state of South Carolina looks really freaking good. I mean, it really, really looks good. I'm not sure about Gunnar Rivers. I don't think you'll be able to get him on. Trent Seaborn is interesting to me. I don't know but I don't think quarterback should be a big position that you should target in 2027. That's just my opinion. I do think overall 27 looks good. The state of South Carolina, in my opinion, there is no other state that has as much talent as what South Carolina does. That's just that's just the truth. Dude, it looks damn good. Just seeing what this roster looks like. You've had a couple of official visits over the summer. I think the biggest one, though, is Josh Dobson from Fort Mill. Guys, Josh Dobson's been to South Carolina, I think twice. No, he's been there 5 times. No. That's Seaborn's been to South Carolina 5 times. Dobson's been there 4 times. Dobson could end up being a South Carolina Gamecock. I think that'd be one of your biggest commits at the cornerback position, and a position that you really need to fill in for 27. Because think about what you're going to lose after this year. Not just with Kamari, not just with DQ Smith, with Jalen Kilgore. You're losing a lot of leadership there. So get those young guys into the room, get them ready to play during their first year in 2026 or 2027, and get them ready to go once you get them involved with this young group of DBs following the 26th season. So that's my overall thoughts on 27. But like I mentioned, guys, the state of South Carolina is just loaded with talent, man. There's a lot of talent in the state of South Carolina. I mean, not just with that, but with Jaden Bryant. I mean, early on, your top 5 guys in the state are all expected to commit to SC. Josh Dobson, Jaden Bryant, Seth Tillman, which I wouldn't be shocked if Seth Tillman tries to play both high school basketball and football. Or not high school basketball. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays basketball and football. Tillman's he's a dog, man. He's a dog. Christian Jackson, again, is projected to be a Gamecock as well. Jaden Kelly Murray is expected to commit to South Carolina as well. So already, even though this is still early on for 27, 8 or 9 of the top 10 players in the state of South Carolina is expected to stay in South Carolina and such, which is one of the biggest things we've been talking about, is that you're wanting to keep guys in the Palmetto State. And I think you are going to continue to do that at the end of the day. And you're going to continue to elevate your guys at a higher level than what you've been able to do in years past. Guys, I've already said this. Beamer is a damn good recruiter. He's continuing to prove that day in and day out. So whether we like it or not, that's what Beamer's going to do, and that's what he'll continue to do. All right. We're going to go ahead and end it off here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning on in to South Carolina Live. The instant reaction as Kamari Blair decommits from the South Carolina Gamecocks and will officially be a Tennessee Volunteer. Do us a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification so that you are notified every time we post a new video here on South Carolina Live. Make sure that you are consistent with your viewership. We want to get you guys' opinions. Guys, we had over 400 of you guys up in here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for always continuing to support South Carolina. Thank you for making South Carolina Live your first official listen of the 2025 season, your number one stop for all things South Carolina football. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will be seeing you tomorrow as Darius Gray is set to commit 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to get after it, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, we'll see you guys then. After that, we'll see you guys Monday for our live show. We'll see you guys Wednesday for the call-in show as we get ready for game week. Game week is already here, baby. Virginia Tech, we're coming for your ass. We're going to get after it, guys. Y'all stay blessed. Stay blessed. Don't stress. Y'all have a great rest of the day.